Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joins us in Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform. My name is Olga Atamanova and we continue our work. It's day 302 of the heroic resistance of the Ukrainian people, and now we'll be talking about the situation in Kherson region. Joining us online is Andrii Kovany, acting head of the communication department of the Main Directorate of the National Police in Kherson region. Mr. Andrii, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Mr. Andrii, we got the information today that the Deputy Minister of Internal Affairs said that there is a new burial site discovered in the Kherson region. Can you give us more detail on this and on another war crimes of the Russians that were documented by the police? Well, the thing is that this story was already discussed. The exhumation was going on in the end of November. We identified that in the month of April, the representatives of the occupiers shut down 6 men and 1 woman, and then they blew up the premises where they did it together with the bodies. And among those men, there were representatives of the security company who were on guard of agricultural machines, and upon the exhumations, the remnants of their bodies were forwarded for forensic expertise, and the investigation is going on. Talking in general about the war crimes of the Russians, what was documented and what are the results of the exhumations known for now. Well, talking about exhumation, it was probably the most number of bodies exhumated within one time. The exhumation is going on a permanent basis in the occupied territories, but they are not happening in mass. More than 8,000 cases were opened with regard to war crimes of the Russians from the beginning of the full-scale invasion. So the work was going on during the active phase of the warfare, and after the liberation of our territories, the war crimes are still being documented and investigated. In the special joint investigation teams are working in the occupied territories. Such teams include forensic specialists, policemen, the representatives of the prosecutor's office, the representatives of the security service of Ukraine. So we all together would document those war crimes for their objective investigation and identification of the persons guilty of those crimes and bringing them to liability. Andrii, we were all shocked by the information that specifically in Kherson region there was a torture site for the miners found in Kherson region. So talking about such torture chambers, how many of such shocking findings did we discover, and what was the number of people who suffered in this way from the occupiers' actions? Well, now that we have the representatives not only of police in these joint investigation teams, so it's not only the police who documents the presence of such torture chambers. We found 7 torture sites and 1 detention site, so 3 of such torture sites and 1 detention site in Kherson, and the rest in Berislav region. But that's not it. This is only what I can talk about as the policeman. But talking about Kherson in general, the biggest torture chamber was the temporary detention site that we have 300 confirmed cases of the people who were detained there. The people were questioned and they provide evidence, but the number is increasingly growing, and the precise number of the people who went through that specific torture chamber, we don't know. It's still were we able to liberate all the people who went through those torture chambers, or somebody was deported by the Russians out of the Kherson region? If you have such information, and if it's known, so what? We don't comment this information due to security reasons and safety of those who are currently imprisoned. About the daily shellings happening in Kherson and Kherson region all the time, we are seeing that you document 30 to 50 criminal cases. So since the moment of the occupation, how many shellings are documented, and if you have any information regarding the damage and destruction and casualties, can you please give us a few comments on that? I cannot give you the exact figure of the shellings, but yes, they're going on a daily basis, and they never ceased since the beginning of the warfare. And if we talk about Kherson, the enemy targets the critical infrastructure and residential areas, but in fact the whole of the city is bombarded, and unfortunately we have casualties and injured among the civilians almost on a daily basis. If there is a figure of the casualties and injured from the moment of the occupation, well, in total, since the moment of liberation, we have the confirmed information about 332 casualties, including 17 children, and 74 more persons are unidentified. Those are the figures from the moment of the liberation of Kherson region. Mr. Andrii, and another question. We understand that the police service is now in difficult conditions. What are the main challenges you're facing now? Well, the main objective for us is to document all the war crimes committed in the territory of Kherson region and the city of Kherson for proper investigation and forwarding the materials to proper agencies. And it's the assistance to the people, because there are people who remain in the occupied territories even notwithstanding the threat they're faced. The policemen deliver humanitarian aid, they support in evacuation of the residents, and in rebuilding of the facilities. The operation of all the police departments is reestablished in the region and in the city, and we are all aimed at bringing the victory closer, and we all want to live in our peaceful cities the soonest possible. Do the police departments operate as the resilience stations now? Yes, every police department and every police station, they are equipped as the resilience stations. They are equipped with generators, with the heaters. They have a reserve of food and drinks. People can get heated there. They can drink hot tea, recharge their gadgets, and there are 2 more tents deployed by the police in the Filatov Street and in the avenue of 200 years of Kherson, so specifically in the tents. So every police department and every police station is equipped as the resilience stations, and 2 more tents are deployed in the city additionally. There was information that the police of Kherson region already started the measures on voluntary turning in the weapons. Can you give us a few comments on that? What are the results? It's a little bit too early to talk about results, but yeah, we started the month of voluntarily turning in the arms, but which is the process implemented for the safety and security of the citizens, because we understand that many arms, many explosive devices were left after the deoccupation, and they pose certain threat. So we call all the citizens, please disclose this information to us. Don't retain it as a souvenir for yourself, because it may pose threat both to you and those around you. Please turn in the weapons, turn in the explosive devices, some hazardous materials. Make stay safe and secure, and don't forget about the criminal liability. The Article 336 of the Criminal Code of Ukraine, it contemplates the liability for illegal preservation of arms and explosive devices. So we're reading about the measures with regard to the collaboration is for those who cooperated with the occupational authorities. Can you give us a few comments on this process? Well, in general, the work on identification of collaboration is going on, but I currently cannot comment such work because it's not only the police who is engaged in those processes. Thank you for joining us online, dear colleagues. I'm reminding you, joining us was Andrii Kovany, press officer of the Police Directorate of Kherson region. Our next briefing is at 1500. We have a panel discussion about the Ukraine information front, lessons, conclusions, and victories. So trust in our armed forces, work together for our victory, and glory to Ukraine.